my birthday is Inauguration Day, but would I remember Inauguration Day if it wasn't my birthday? No.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. It's nice to see the city council chambers full of people. So, it is June 27th of the year 2023, and we are convened as the American Fork City Council. Council member Barnes is absent tonight, away to another assignment, and we will begin this meeting with a public hearing, and we're here to receive public comments on the vacation of a public utility easement between lots 321 and 322 of AF Crossing Plat E-2 at 856 and 864 South 100 or 1000 West. Anybody that would like to make public comment regarding this item, please come forward and state your name. Okay, I'll now move on to receiving public comments on the adjustment to the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023 in the city budget. Anybody that would like to make comments on the adjustments of our budget last year, please come forward at this time and state your name at the mic. Okay, seeing none, we will close the public hearing and we'll move on to our regular session. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, after which we'll have an invocation by Councilmember Shelton, and then I will conduct the roll call. If everybody would please stand.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful for the opportunity we have to be gathered together as a community. We're thankful, Father, for the great privilege which is ours to be able to meet and to be able to govern ourselves. We're thankful, Father, for the great responsibility and honor it is to represent the citizens of American Fork. We're grateful for the stewardship that is ours to help provide those essential services. We're grateful for city staff and being able to help execute that responsibility in a manner that is efficient and helps residents be able to feel a sense of honor and respect for the community in which they live in. We're thankful, Father, for the freedom that we enjoy, for the water that we've received, and for being mindful of us. We ask that as we conduct the business of the city this evening, that Thy Spirit will be with us. We'll maybe be able to do it in a decorum and discuss issues that would be able to help us find a path forward to address challenges that may exist. And these things we ask and pray for in the name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Okay, I'll now conduct the roll call. Councilmember Hunter? Here. Councilmember Shelton? Here. Councilmember Carroll?
Here.
Councilmember Taylor? Here. Okay, we'll now move on to item number 2. For that, I'm going to change my spot a little bit. JT, if you'd come forward. And all those that have been asked from our Public Works, our flood mitigation team, I don't want you to be shy. Please come up. That's what I like to see. American Fork Irrigation Company. McKay, that's you. Feel real surrounded tonight. You know, it's interesting in American Fork and in the state of Utah, So I think back the last 3 years, and especially last year, we were dealing with a drought of historical proportions in the state of Utah. And then you fast forward 1 year, and we are dealing with record snowpack and the snow water equivalent within that snow. And it doesn't happen by accident that as we now are kind of looking, I'm not going to say completely in the rearview mirror, but certainly we feel like the heavy lifting is done. We still have water coming down, but it feels very, very manageable. And it's not without just the hard work of people. And this year in American Fork, as well as many communities in Utah, we felt the threat of flooding due to what I would call historical or record snowmelt. With a major river running through town, we knew a flood could be disastrous for our residents and businesses, which is why we are so grateful for the hard work of our flood prevention team who kept our communities safe and our rivers secure. The city's flood prevention team was comprised mainly of our sewer and storm drain departments and the American Fork Irrigation Company employees, with significant support from other public works departments and public safety. Our flood prevention team started as early as February by clearing the river channel of loose debris, branches, and dead trees. They also repaired and stabilized eroding walls and removed obstacles like couches, mattresses, and other garbage deposited in the river. Once the river was cleared, they began identifying areas of concern and staged supplies at those locations to be ready in a moment's notice. The prevention teams were proactive in obtaining additional resources and equipment to ensure proper protection throughout the city. The team also worked with local communities, volunteer groups to fill over 5,000 sandbags that could be deployed as needed. Once all this proactive prevention was in place, our team then began the burdensome task of watching the river. They took shifts working around the clock, clearing out debris and logs from the debris basin, diverting flows at the weir, and cleaning out grates to avoid blockages and overflows. The team monitored cameras and inspected several locations throughout the night, sometimes allowing the people on call only a few hours of sleep at night. Their dedication allowed our city streets to remain open when others would have preemptively closed them to make the job easier. Thanks to the skilled team with the foresight to plan well and react appropriately, American Fork City was prepared for everything Mother Nature could throw at us. For this reason, we want to honor the American Fork Flood Prevention Team by giving them the Hero Award and declaring June 27th of the year 2023 Flood Prevention Team Day in American Fork City. I've got 2 awards. I'm going to give one to Susan in behalf of the public. Ernie, where are you at? From American Fork Irrigation Company. We're not done yet. I'm going to have JT come forward as well. Oh, there he is.
All right, my name is Jackson Taylor. I go by JT. I'm the head golf pro at Fox Hollow, and I got to see firsthand this team and how prepared they were for what Mother Nature had for us. As you guys, I'm sure, have seen from the news, I don't know if we're calling it a sinkhole or a bursted pipe, but we had a disaster happen at the golf course, and I was one of the first people that saw it that day. And immediately, even before something like this happened, I've been in constant contact with Mayor Frost, Clark on the city council, who also represents the Fox Hollow board, and David Bunker from AF City, the administrator. And I've already had plans about something like this happening. So immediately I called the mayor, and he told me, JT, I'm going to call some people and we'll be right over. And within 5 minutes, this team was at the golf course. They assessed the sinkhole or bursted pipe, and immediately knew what to do and got in motion, got track hose over. I mean, if they would have waited another 20 or 30 minutes, I mean, we could have lost 4 holes at the golf course. I mean, and possibly more residential areas. So I got to firsthand see this team in action, and on behalf of Fox Hall staff and our board and, you know, everyone that plays at Fox Hall, we sure appreciate all of you guys. You guys did amazing work, and I'm sure there was more than just Fox Hall that you guys took care of. So thank you guys. I don't know if I have enough, but I want to make sure that I have enough hats for everybody here. So there's some hats there, whoever wants to grab them. But again, thank you guys so much for all your guys' hard work. Thank you.
Having been in a few war rooms preceding this, I'm going to ask Ernie if he might take just a couple minutes as well.
Thanks, Mayor. Fortunately, you gave me a little bit of heads up on this. So I'm president and water master for American Fork Irrigation, and by a decree 130 years ago, we operate the weir and we manage American Fork Canyon, the watershed for the cities and the irrigation companies in North Utah County. And we deliver water to 3 irrigation companies and 5 cities. So we started meeting in February, as the mayor said, and I got the opportunity to work with a great team. And I just want to list this team so you understand what we did and how we did this. So our goal, we had a 3-place goal. So we wanted to survey the river channel from Tibble Fork to Utah Lake, all the way that it would go through all 3 cities. And then we were going to identify the trouble spots and prepare the river channel for high water. So we did that. And then we had 2 other goals: no duplication of effort. And all 3 cities and all the agencies worked together. And wait till I tell you the agencies, and you're not going to believe that everybody really worked together. And it was total cooperation. Whenever anything needed to happen, like with the golf course, when that happened at the golf course, 2 phone calls were made, and we were bringing material from Highland City down that they had available to come down and be working at the golf course. All it took was 2 phone calls and things were in place. So that's what we did. As Sergeant Spencer Cannon said, he called it, we knew that Mother Nature was going to be, we're at the mercy of Mother Nature. He said we've got to be proactively reactive, and we were. And I think everybody saw it because they didn't see it. Nothing happened. There was no flooding. We were prepared. And yes, we were blessed that the weather cooperated and brought all that water and snow down safely. But we still did it. So here's the groups of people: U.S. Forest Service, U.S. Park Service, UDOT, Utah County Sheriff's Office, Utah County Fire, Utah County Public Works, Utah County Emergency Management, American Fork City Public Works, American Fork City Fire, American Fork City Police Department, Cedar Hills, Highland City, Lone Peak Fire, and then at the last meeting, the mayor brought in the National Guard. And the comment was made to the major at the National Guard. He said, well, are you going to need us? And we said, well, even if you're not needed here, because we think we're prepared, someone is going to need you. And because of that, the National Guard pre-positioned equipment out of the basin, the Uinta Basin, and brought it down to Spanish Fork so it was ready. I heard back from my contacts from these agencies, when high water started in May, a lot of cities were scrambling because they hadn't planned ahead. And the comment was made, we were done. We had the river channel cleaned. Everybody had every area of responsibility identified. And I just want to say thank you. It worked. And this phenomenal group of people behind me is why it happened. Everybody pitched in and worked together, and all the other cities. And then there's one other group I want to thank, and that's all of your families. Because like it or not, they had to support you when you were up late at night, when you didn't get any sleep. So thank you for everybody that pitched in. It really, truly was a team effort.
Let's get a group photo, should we? We can fit this group together. Is this going to be in the way?
Okay, look at me. Good. Girl, hold up your certificate. We won't know you're a winner.
Yeah, you can hold it. There you go.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is going to be a whirlwind. Maybe we could take the council plans all the way out. All right.
He's coming. Well, actually, I don't know.
Man, Ryan, you look so sharp. Appreciate that. How's it going, Dave? So
Oh, well, Friday.
Linda, thank you. So many calls like you have.
Oh, yep.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm shaking it again. That's right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. David?
Thank you. One more time. One more time.
I'm going to ask this group just to stay, just at least through the council comments, okay? Hold tight. They all leave, and then we say good things about them, so. All right, we're going to move now on to item number 3, which is a time we set aside for public comment. Anybody that is here that would like to address the mayor, the city council, senior staff, make a comment, we'd ask you to come forward to the pulpit. And we'd ask you to state your name and keep your remarks to 2 minutes. I have one that has signed up for it, and if you didn't sign, that's okay, but we're going to lead out with Michelle Hyde. Michelle, are you here?
I'm here to talk about the new proposal that you guys have for the tree trimming project for the road improvements. This morning, we looked out our house to discover that half our trees had been chopped in half. And the notification that you were changing the policy from an 8-foot level tree to a 14-foot level branch was not delivered to us at all. We were given no notification. We were given no chance to give any input into any mitigation efforts or whatever we could do to improve the aesthetic of our home. So right now, when you look at our home, the entire front, it's a chopped in half tree, sideways. And it has definitely caused us significant trauma this morning to find out that this was done without any input with us to even see what we could have done to satisfy the needs for the road improvement without completely destroying the front of our house with those trees. And after talking with the arborist, he was given a one-size-fit-all approach to solving the problem for this road improvement, which basically, we haven't seen road improvement in our street for 17 years. So you chopped our trees in half for something that we might see every 17 years, and we live there every single day and have to deal with this. And when we talked with him, I believe there was ways we could have mitigated the damage that was done to our home this morning if we would have had the chance to discuss with him before this destruction happened. We had neighbors that this happened to also that were not notified, and they were at work and didn't even know that this kind of vandalism happened to their home till they got home this afternoon. So the damage is done. There's nothing we can do. We can't glue branches back on. We can't fix what's there. But I just want to know that we discussed with the people that were there the steps that we could take to try to remediate what's done here. And I just want to have the full support of the council that what we discussed and what we come up with is fully supported by the council to try to fix what was highly traumatic and very awful for us to come out and just find massive amounts of our hard effort over years, 25 years, to just gone in a heartbeat without any notification. Now, they said they mailed out notices, but they did not reach us. And we confirmed with the council that they were not given to us. There was nothing, but we came out and had, I'll just use the word, what I would have considered vandalism. If I would have come home and seen this, I would have called the police to find out what happened, because it was so bad. Now, we have talked with the Public Works people to let them know as well. And I know if you're going to ask me what can we do about it, I'm just like, look to this in the future and maybe stop a little bit and talk to the affected people before it's a one-size-fits-all destruction. And that whatever we work out with the people that were there in relation to the sidewalk fixes and the road work, that you support it and don't say, no, we're not going to be responsible for what happened today. So thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. And then, Michelle, I said, I have your information here, and we will respond back to you with this information. All right. Is there anybody else that would like to make public comment? Seeing none, I'll close the public comment, and we'll move on to the city administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank our Public Works staff all around, and Ernie and his team as well. Like was mentioned, there was a lot of preparation going into this, and I remember looking at the SNOTEL report on a daily basis. Honestly, I just could not believe the amount of snow that was up in the canyon, and just considering the size of the channel and how much water had to come through the city, I'll be honest, I had a lot of concern. And there were nights that I would get up and come and look at the river channel and just hoping that it wasn't, coming out in places that it shouldn't. And every time I came out, there was one of our Public Works guys out there. And they were just so vigilant about making sure that everything was going so smooth. And we have just such a great team of people that work in American Fork and work with American Fork City. And I just want to express my appreciation for them. And really, that's all I have to report tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Okay, we'll now move on to council reports, and I'll start with Councilmember Hunter.
Thank you, Mayor. I just would, and I'm sure I won't be the first, or I guess maybe clearly I'm not the first, but I'm certainly not going to be the last, to just mention this. I had similar concerns, and having grown up down on the south side of town, the old ward neighbors and people mentioning, hey, man, we're really concerned. I mean, I walked through that canal my entire childhood going to school, and I mean, we were always bummed because we couldn't, for a couple weeks is all it seemed like, that we couldn't go down through the canal to get to the school. But we were always bummed when we had to walk around all the way up to the entrance to get into the school. But this year I think I'd be livid because it was like 3 months long. But I too am just, I don't know, it's too often. Ernie made the comment when he was speaking about how nothing happened, and that's clearly not true, right? I mean, yeah, we didn't notice things happening, but there was always something happening. I did the same with David. I'm kind of a night owl. I get up and go to bed about 1:30 or 2 o'clock finally every morning, and many times I'd be coming home and take a look, and I'd pass one of the trucks and see him sitting there on First North or Pacific, I guess, I don't know, or whatever. But I always kept waiting for that to breach the road at that kind of critical juncture right there, and I'm sure the miracle switches and magic behind the curtain was making so that it was just always right at the top, but never too much. And we just thank you. It's easy to forget sometimes about the stuff that doesn't ever happen, because nothing ever happens, but it's every night and every waking moment that you guys are working and make it so that is in fact the case, that nothing happens. So thank you very much.
Okay. Councilmember Shelton.
Thanks, Mayor. The Beautification Committee is getting excited and getting all the arrangements in order for the garden tour with Still Days that the Chamber's putting on, and so a lot of excitement around that. They've got some awesome yards throughout the community, and it's amazing. Mayor, you were a selection 1 year, and they always have, and been on that committee as well. They have a sign-in sheet, and it blows my mind how many people come from way outside the city into our city to look at the different types of gardens and things of that nature that are done. And so I know a lot of that is part of the magazine that goes out and the marketing that's done with it. So appreciate all the effort that's into that and look forward to another successful garden tour this year. Other item is North Point Solid Waste. They're getting ready to make some improvements, and part of that's going to require some different things that are done. That has brought about the conversation of changing our entity structure, much like we did at dispatch, where we changed from a special service district to an interlocal. Happy to go over the pros and cons, but we had a board meeting this last week, and it seemed as if there was a general consensus to move that direction. Biggest difference being it kind of lets the cities be more in control and not have to be at the disposal or underneath the jurisdiction of the county. But you'll probably see more of that coming forward, so just kind of planting that seed that you'll see that probably within the next 6 months come before us to have a discussion a little bit more. Just to be clear on that, every member city has to agree and adopt that. So that's something we'll discuss further. And then as far as tonight with the flood mitigation, sincere thank you. I as well, my poor kids, on a Sunday had me load them up in the truck. We went up the canyon as far as we possibly could go. And I just looked at that at the end of April and thought, man, look at all of this snow. Kind of talking to them about how that's got to make its way down somehow, and talking about the important individuals that they will probably never know or see that's behind the scenes making sure that happens. We then drove all the way down, followed the river, all the way down to Utah Lake and saw where it spilled in. So the poor kids, hopefully they remember that, but I don't know, they might just remember a boring drive on a Sunday with Dad spewing information. But I hope that future generations can learn from the great preparation that was taking place. I appreciated the reports that we were getting as people on the street would stop me and start to say, hey, I'm seeing more news come out. What's taking place? What efforts are being done? And having that information allowed me as an elected official to pass that information back on to our residents that you're going to be taken care of, and that those preparations are being made. And I also appreciated the administration responding to a few emails I got that were pretty critical, and being able to respond back and show what preparations were taking place. So a sincere thank you to everyone that was in there, and hopefully a standard that can be met going forward. You guys set the bar really high, so thank you.
Thank you for that report. Councilmember Carroll.
Thank you. I too want to comment on Public Works and the irrigation company, and frankly all of our water management that we have done. It's truly what I would consider a heroic effort and worthy of a hero award. But I also hope that you would see it as an indication of the gratitude that we have every spring when we have maybe not the same amount of water coming down, but catastrophic things could happen on a lot of spring runoff if it's not managed well. So to me, I look at this and I'm thinking it's a great time to do it when we've had such a high water year, but I also want you to know how grateful, and every year I think about it when I hear about, well, during these weeks, during these times, they do have to come out at night, even all night, making sure that there's not trees and boulders blocking the channel, and that's not just this year. So I just want you to make sure that you know of our gratitude every year when we see this, and I feel like it's well deserving this year when you've had, I'm sure, had to put in even more effort. So that's just my little pitch from me. I do also want to report a little bit more on Steel Days. Of course, we're going full steam ahead. The Chamber of Commerce presidents have been putting together so many things for our city, and we're so excited for what's coming. One thing that I'm going to mention that you will see when the magazine comes out soon is that we are slightly changing the parade route, and it will start in the same spot, but then it will end in the high school. And we're hoping that this will be a little bit longer route for people, have some shade, have frontage, and have a nice place to drop off for people, especially with a lot of children that they need to pick up. So look for that and hope that people will embrace that change, because sometimes when you're changing things that are traditions, people have a harder time, but we really think this will be really good for the city. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Taylor.
Yes, Mayor, I'll be a bit of a broken record here for a bit, but I had the opportunity to be up on site when all of the action was taking place at Foxhall. And we had 3 of our finest, and Susan as well there, taking care of things and doing a tremendous job. And, it's something that we all take for granted, unfortunately. And while you good people are working night and day to ensure that, and Ernie, the same with you, right there with the irrigation company, watching over that, stationed at the weir 24 hours a day, always looking after that. And to go through and roll through this as we have, probably the thing that I appreciate second to all of the incredible work that's gone on is the fact that we can cooperate with the other entities. That's so critical to be able to do that. And there was a time when that used to be natural, and now it takes increased effort to be able to do that. So I'm very grateful to all of you for making that happen, and your cooperation and coming together and having those things come for the benefit of all of the citizens. So I appreciate that. Secondly, I would like to apologize to Michelle and Dave that I'm so sorry. There's nothing that I will be able to say tonight that will assuage your situation, especially being in your home for as long as you have. I'll come up and visit and we can talk about it, but I've had a couple of other people talk to me. They were noticed, however. They received notice and they had people come and talk to them. It won't do you any good and it won't make you feel better, but that was an oversight. If it didn't happen, some mistake took place. It doesn't matter, as you said, the damage is done. And there was some concern about this early on, and we talked about it, and we tried to do our best to try and mitigate those things. But I promise you that, I'll do what I can to make sure that is not common, that doesn't take place to anyone else. And I'm very sorry. We sit on a lot. We've been there for 32 years in the same house. I have 3 very beautiful trees that block the sun coming from the west. I can't imagine what would happen if something happened to my trees in that way. So, again, I'm sorry. And I promise you it was an oversight. It wasn't careless behavior. It wasn't the city just taking things for granted and doing that. Unfortunately, this stuff happens. But so I apologize for that and promise that we'll do better. At least I'll work to try and help things be better. So that's all I have, Mayor.
All right, thanks for that report. Item number 6, the mayor's report. I've said things tonight, but I would like to expound just for a couple minutes more, if I could. Over the last 3-4 years, we have endured and we have together been through a worldwide pandemic. We have, as I stated, we had hit a drought that has never been recorded in the state of Utah ever before. The drought conditions, back to where they were keeping records. And then this year, we saw record snowfall, again, as far back as they've been keeping records. The snow water equivalent was beyond 1983 and anything that they had seen. And of these 3 years and these 3, I would just call them situations, nothing probably I had more fear over than was this flooding incident and what was up there, because it just felt imminent. We knew it was there and we knew it had to come down. And I network with a lot of the mayors in different kinds of meetings, transportation issues and things like that, and we had a lot of talk about it. I felt like our city was fairly unique in the fact that what came off of the Timpanogos Divide and what we call the Snowbird Snowtail side, which is the North Fork by Tibble Fork, that primarily will come through not just a little side of our city, but it comes right down the heart. It comes through right under major roads, State Street, and it finds its way through the lake, through residential areas. And I really felt like, wow, this is daunting. And even as we met, I thought, okay, we're doing our very best here. And I thought, what's going to happen? I found myself, after we got cameras, I was watching cameras. I was known just to stop at certain points of concern and just check it. Ashton and we're going to exchange Christmas cards this year because we talked a lot. So anyway, I just reiterate my heartfelt thanks in behalf of every resident of this city that it was there and they slept at nights when you weren't, and we got it through. And it's at the lake. And aside from one little incident at Fox Hollow, that it just would have been nothing. I mean, no major incident. But again, as JT expounded, you guys showed up and pulled that pipe out and just brought that river right back into its channel because it had been prepared. We had the equipment. We had thought ahead of time. So thanks again for everything. We often will come up here and we'll talk about the ones, the things that people that protect us from harm, our police department, our fire department, and rightfully we should. But tonight is about you guys and your protecting of us. And thank you, Ernie, for reminding me of an oversight, and that is the people that were behind your kids and your family. From the mayor's office, I would like to express my gratitude towards you because I'm sure between phone calls and even just seeing the anxiety and what was happening, you had to really live that and feel that. So thank you for everything. That is the mayor's report, so thank you. We'll now move on to the common consent agenda. It consists of the 4 items that is before you. Is there any questions on the common consent agenda?
Mayor, I'd move to approve the common consent agenda.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Carroll,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember Shelton, or Taylor. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Carroll,
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor,
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes is absent. Councilmember Hunter,
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton.
Aye.
Okay, I'm just going to give this a few minutes to just clear out and we'll get going here. Okay, we'll now move on to action items. Item number 1 is a review and action on the acceptance of an encroachment agreement at 145 West, 640 North. Any questions for staff on where this is, its purpose? All right, I would entertain a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to authorize the city to approve the easement encroachment agreement for 145 West, 640 North, and authorize the mayor to sign the document.
You have a motion by Councilmember Shelton,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember Taylor. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Shelton,
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll,
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter,
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Item number 2 is a review and action on an ordinance approving the vacation of a public utility easement between lots 321, located 856 South, 1000 West, and lot 322, located 864 South, 1000 West, of the AF Crossing Plat E-2. Any questions, council?
Scrolling, sorry.
There we go.
Mayor, I'd move to adopt the ordinance approving the vacation of the public utility easement between Lot 321 and Lot 322 of AF Crossings Plat E2.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Hunter,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember Carroll. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Shelton,
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter,
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor,
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Item number 3 is a review and action on a resolution to accept or deny the petition of an annexation of the Deer Park South annexation consisting of 6.833 acres at approximately 50 West, 1300 South.
Mayor, I'll move to adopt the resolution accepting the petition of annexation for Deer Park South annexation consisting of 6.833 acres at approximately 50 West, 1300 South.
A motion by Councilmember Shelton.
I'll second.
I have a second by Councilmember Taylor. Any discussion on this motion?
Can I just ask, this one's the one that we were talking about, making sure we confirm that we have access to that, to first,
That's correct.
we're good.
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter.
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton.
Aye.
Item number 4 is review and action on an approval of an economic development and service agreement with the American Fork Chamber of Commerce for the terms of fiscal year 2024. I'm going to invite them to come forward, if you wouldn't mind. Maybe just give an overview, if you wouldn't mind, Josh.
Sure. So basically, we have been working on the different aspects of the economic development agreement. We've actually, part of that is focusing somewhat on downtown. And so we have met several times with Jen Christensen. She owns a company called Bespoke downtown, and she's kind of rallied the business owners downtown. And so we're working with them on potentially an official business downtown alliance, but for sure to help bring more events and activities to help encourage people to come shop downtown. We've met as an economic development committee several times in the last few months talking about the website, and we actually have an appointment to meet with Dental Corps, who originally created that website, to do an overhaul on that website. Now that we have Patrick on the staff and a little bit more, I think, vision with what the council's hoping to accomplish, we can tune that website to more clearly follow those guidelines of growing and attracting business here in American Fork. We also have a council that we meet. Originally, we were meeting quarterly with the mayor and a lot of our business owners, and we've moved that to every other month. And so, in fact, we just met a couple weeks ago, and Alta Bank is good enough to host us every time for that, and we get the CEOs of the hospital, the banks, car dealerships to meet and talk about issues that are affecting the city, issues that are affecting the businesses, and how we work together to move forward and plan accordingly. We've also talked with David and Stacy and Patrick, that's kind of our core economic development committee, on other ways that we can help improve processes and communication channels for businesses. So happy to answer any other questions.
You know, Josh, I've found those meetings to be really enlightening and fun, even as, you know, to attend those executive council meetings. And so I think our last one was, you know, you guys planned that activity, a kind of a networking activity. And at first I thought, oh, what are we doing? I had a lot of fun with it, so appreciate that. So, and I'd be open as well if you wanted to. I think it might be, if we had a work session at any time as you're kind of kicking off, I'll just follow Councilmember Carroll's lead on if she feels like we need to have something to just provide information to you as you're revamping the website or whatever you're doing. Just, we're here to support this. So
yeah, we're doing the initial consultation with Dental Corps next week with Stacy, David, Patrick, Christine, and myself, and it's kind of going to be, all right, we're going to redo this, make it bigger, better. How do we make it so that it attracts more people to look at American Fork as a destination location for their business and keep our current businesses here? And so, yeah, we would definitely love to get the input from Mayor, Council on how that will progress. So.
All right, any questions? Yeah.
Mayor, if I just have a comment, maybe, I appreciate that, and I appreciate that idea. I think over the next several years, downtown American Fork is going to change, and I think having a strong kind of cohesive approach to that will be really great. So appreciate, I actually looked at the website as I read through the packet, and I think that'll be a great step too, as kind of a next evolution. This was the first pass at the work American Fork, and anyway, I'm excited to see that continue to, you know, take the next progressive steps. But I do like the really, American Fork Main Street's going to be different in the coming years that aren't so far off. So thank you.
Really appreciate the chamber. I think huge value was shown during the whole COVID thing. You guys stepped up and, you know, like if there was a way to give a grade, it'd just be way beyond anything that could be graded at that point. Kind of brought this up last year, I think, as we evaluate the contract. It's always good to somehow find a bar of where accomplishment has gone. And we've kind of put in there to create a report to provide back to the city. And I did send an email kind of asking a few questions to David and got some answers back, but didn't see that report that was supposed to be given back to us. So I think it'd be good just in the future to, I don't know, it just says it has to be given to the city, but I think it'd be good to get given to us, kind of knowing what that process is. And what that does is provides us a great opportunity to see what you've done, have that sense of gratitude that's there. I thought it was kind of ironic. I planned on making a comment like that, and then I saw this on each of our desks up here, and it's the water users 2022 annual report, you know, and so nothing of huge detail, but just kind of highlights what those are. And I know I appreciate David making mention of, oh, well, Rob, you were invited to one of these events, and I go, man, well, I appreciate that, because I'm sure all of us get messages and invites sometimes to a lot of things as elected officials, and so it did help bring that back to memory of what that was, and help me out a little bit. I also love to hear about the overhaul of the website. That was one that I love that we get it up and running, but then it needs to be able to maintain, and I'm glad it had the language maintained, but now we're adding the verbiage update. I found probably 90% of the links on there don't even work anymore, and so if that's our face to the community and business community, I'm glad to hear that's in the works to be revamped. And then how do we keep that up to date on a regular basis, so it's not every 2 or 3 year overhaul, but just added to and build upon to put our best foot forward. That would be awesome. So appreciate what you guys do.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there a question?
Excuse me, Mayor, I would move to approve the Economic Development and Services Agreement with the American Fork Chamber of Commerce for the term fiscal year 2024.
I have a motion by Councilmember Taylor,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember Carroll. Any discussion on this motion? We'll call for a vote. Councilmember Hunter,
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton,
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor,
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Item number 5 is a review and action on a resolution approving adjustments to the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023 city budget. I have Anna sitting right here close, but I'm not going to call you up, Anna, unless there's questions. Does the council have any questions?
I didn't, Mayor, as I looked through it, it was all very straightforward and essentially a sales tax, you know, adjustment is essentially. But with that, I'd move to approve the resolution adopting the budget adjustments for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023 budget.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Hunter, second by Councilmember Taylor. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Hunter.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton.
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Okay, item number 6 is a review and action on approval of a final plat known as AF Warehouse Condos located at approximately 90 South, 700 East in American Fork. The final plat will be an approximately 1.67 acres and will be in the GC1 zone. Council, are there any questions?
I just had a question on parking, and I don't know if, where it's an existing parcel, I wasn't sure how much this changes or not. I'm gonna, yeah, and I couldn't see, I didn't see back there. So yeah, if you can, I just want to confirm that we've hit, I mean, you would make the assumption that that's been the case.
That they've met parking?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a couple things we needed to try overcome with them. Parking wasn't one of them. There was just a couple other issues in terms of size of building and setbacks, but I believe all of that's been taken care of.
I believe it's going to be a great addition to that area, and I was a little concerned that the parking wasn't going to hit, so, because it's going to definitely draw some attention for sure. So, with that, I would, I move to recommend approval for the proposed final plat, approximately 90 South, 700 East, American Fork City, Utah, 84003. in the GC1 zone, subject to any conditions found in the staff report recommended by the fire marshal, and with instructions to the city recorder to withhold recording of the plat, subject to all conditions identified in the public record for the June 7th, 2023 Planning Commission meeting.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember
Second.
Hunter and second by Councilmember Shelton. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Hunter.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton.
Aye.
Item number 6B is a review and action on an ordinance approving a commercial site plan known AF Warehouse Condos located at approximately 90 South, 700 East. In American Forks, the commercial site plan will be at approximately 1.67 acres and will be in the GC1 zone.
Mayor, I'd move to recommend approval for the proposed commercial site plan located approximately 90 South, 700 East, American Fork City, Utah 84003, in the GC1 zone, subject to any conditions found in the staff report and recommended by the fire marshal, and with instructions to the city recorder to withhold the commercial site plan ordinance, subject to all conditions identified in the public record of the June 7th, 2023 Planning Commission meeting.
You have a motion by Councilmember Hunter,
Second?
second by Councilmember Shelton. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Hunter,
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll,
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor,
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton.
Aye.
Item number 6C is a review and action on an approval of a final plat known as Autumn Crest Phase 2, Plat A, located at approximately 1100 North and 1100 East in the R1 9000 zone.
Mayor, I had a chance to take a look at this, and the staff has anything to add to it. Looks like we're just pretty much renewing what was there prior to. So I'll move to adopt the proposed final plat located approximately 1100 North, 1100 East, American Fork in the R1 9000 zone with the instruction of the city recorder withhold the recording of the plat subject to all conditions identified in the public record June 7th, 2023 Planning Commission meeting.
I have a motion by Councilmember Shelton,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember Carroll. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Shelton,
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll,
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor,
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter.
Aye.
Okay, item number 7 is a review and action on an approval of a memorandum of understanding with the state of Utah, with Utah Department of Public Safety accepting a grant in the amount of $52,125 for mental health services.
Mayor, I'd move to approve the memorandum of understanding with the State of Utah Department of Public Safety accepting the $52,125 grant for mental health services and authorize the city to sign the memorandum.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilmember Taylor, second by Councilmember Hunter. Any discussion on this motion?
Want to make a quick comment. I really appreciate the hard work in going after this. When I read over this, it reminded me back in high school, used to be a newspaper writer for the great newspaper, The Forecaster, back in the day. And as a journalist there in high school, went and interviewed Jake Christensen, who was our fire and EMT chief back in the day. This is before the new fire station was built. And he talked to me about the concerns they had of when they would respond to a scene, they'd have their bloody clothes that they would then have to take home and be able to wash and take all that into a home, not knowing what issues existed with that, and how this new fire station was needed to be able to provide services like that. And I think this is a great analogy to that same thing. Sometimes blood is very visible to be able to see, but we don't know what our public safety individuals take home from a mental capacity. And I really appreciated the Citizens Academy, going through that about 12 years ago and seeing some of the pictures. They're just very graphic. That even to me, just seeing it, not being there and having to deal with that is tough. So very grateful for looking at that, and hopefully it's a service that's utilized by both of our departments.
I was kind of going to do a ditto. Like, I've been concerned about mental health services with police for many years. We've talked about it, as well as some of the support we got last year for mental health services going out with the police. And I'm really happy that we have this and that you were able to find a grant for it. That's so huge for us. So thank you so much.
I just finished the Citizens Academy for the second time, and my wife with me. And there were several nights that we came home from different activities, and they did a great job of making it as authentic as possible. But there were nights that we came home only going through an exercise, and we literally laid awake the whole night, talking, going back and forth. And the next day, my wife saying to me, "I can't get past what happened. I can't get, past, things like school shootings." And we went on an exercise where we actually go into a situation where someone has a gun, and we have a gun, a simulated gun, and have to react. And I can't imagine doing that for a living. I can't imagine facing those things every day. It's an exercise. I'm never going to shoot someone in one of those exercises. And I was still racked, and my wife was racked for good experience. But I'm just very grateful that we stepped up, we got this, we did what we can, because I just can't imagine it. So appreciate you, Chief, and all you great people, and glad this is a part of our opportunity now to be able to take care of these things and look after them. So.
Yeah, I don't remember a time where we had this kind of funding to be able to, care for and for the mental health of our officers. It's typical that in any scene, it's the police department that's there first. I mean, they're on the road, they're on the street, they're patrolling. Something happens, they're the first ones to show up. So I have a great respect for them, and I echo everything that's been said. You just can only absorb so much. And I think in this day and age, we're learning that mental health and just talking about things there's no weakness in that for anybody, let alone those who have to see people on in some cases, their very worst day, and they have to be a part of that. So appreciate everything, and I'm so grateful for this grant. So I have a motion and a second, and I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton.
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter.
Aye.
Okay, item number 8 is a review and action on a contract for the PI metering project Phase 2 installation of water meters. We're moving right along in the city. We're learning a little bit as we go. Everybody's is not the same, but we're getting through it. Any questions that council has?
I just suggest, brought this up last time, and I think the first rollout, we learned quite a bit from it, and just the comments tonight about notification, just couldn't stress that enough. Even though we have legal right to enter into an easement and do work, it's always nice to make sure that people are informed and know what's going on. I still believe putting together some videos showing what may happen that people could be able to go see and be prepared for would be helpful in this, especially we got 2 more phases to still go. So I know that's probably not in the cost here, but maybe in our marketing budget or something of that nature, take a look at that and see if we couldn't provide, and hopefully that would help cut down a little bit on the phone calls or concerns that may come in. So with that, I'll make a motion to approve the change order submitted by Hydrovac Excavation for the amounts of $1,365,115 for the pressurized irrigation improvements respectively.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Shelton,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember Taylor. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Shelton.
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter.
Aye.
Item number 9 is review and action on an award of American Fork City 2023-023 Street Rehabilitation Project to Condi Construction.
Mayor, I move that we accept the bid submitted by Condi Construction Company LLC for construction of the American Fork City 2023 Segment 3 Road Reconstruction Project in the amount of $7,554,617.51 and approve the construction contract as presented.
A motion by Councilmember Taylor,
I'll second.
seconded by Councilmember Hunter. Any discussion on this motion?
I want to make sure that 51 cents is included in there.
Okay. Can you?
Approximately 51 cents.
Can you second that motion of the 51 cents? Okay, we're in good shape. All right, I'm going to call for a vote. Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton.
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter.
Aye.
Is there somebody from Condi here, by chance? Okay. I've just been noticing they have done some work a little around the street. I'm real impressed with how they get in, get out, and how they, at the end of the day, they're pretty tidy. And this is a major thing, again, as we talk about, these are the things that the city sees, but they just take for granted when they turn on their tap water's coming. And here we are investing another $7 million into yet another water improvement project. And those things, again, we can take it for granted. Whenever I'm around children, teaching them in groups or even I talk about water a lot. And so they're very aware when they turn on that tap where it's coming from and the delivery system. So, okay, item number 10 is a review and acceptance of the fraud risk assessment for fiscal year 2023.
And just a quick comment on this. I'm glad that we have to go through this from a legal standpoint. And I hear John with our auditor, our external auditors, usually always say that this isn't a save all, and sometimes it gives false hope. But I do feel like the purpose of it has been met in that it helps create some awareness, and really grateful that all of us have gone through and done that training. I know it's probably the most invigorating thing we've ever done in our whole lives, but most of the boards I sit on, that seems to be the toughest thing. And so just a little kudos maybe to us and also to staff and the scoring that's on here. While it doesn't say that we're going to not have any fraud, there's a lot of good training and things that are adopted from here that hopefully will help with that prevention. So with that, I'll go ahead and make the motion to accept the fraud risk assessment for the fiscal year 2023.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Shelton, second by Councilmember Hunter. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton.
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter.
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Item number 11 is a review and action on an acceptance of a quitclaim deed for property located on 1160 West Street.
Mayor, I appreciate the email we received earlier. I don't think it was sent to the rest of the council, but did have one individual who wasn't able to be here. I know it was brought up with staff and with legal counsel, and it's similar to the tree issue, right? And we want to be very aware of what's happening with somebody's property, whether it's in an easement or not. In this case, I think it's really impressive that we're trying to make right and live up to, and that particular property owner doesn't even live in the city, right? So it's this unique balance that we have to walk. But I hope that what will come up here, and we'll all see the note in front of us that essentially follows this memorandum of understanding that exists, not between the city, but between the landowner and the county landowner. But I do appreciate the intent behind these to allow us to have some teeth that essentially says what's reported is about. So I'm happy to make a motion unless there's other comments or something.
I'm just going to ask and just see. I mean, I didn't see Tyree or anyone here tonight. Oh, they couldn't?
That's who sent it.
Oh, okay. And this has been an ongoing issue that just, and I walked down there, I've talked to Tyree, I know you have too, Councilmember Hunter, and so the idea here is this agreement resolves all the issues that are there and that's between the two parties, or?
Perhaps I can add a little bit of context to this. So the quitclaim that needs to be accepted eventually is the boundary discrepancy between the Lamp property and the Edgewater development. That development on phase 1 has not been recorded, and they can't record it because their approval of their amended plat was contingent upon resolving this boundary issue. So that's where we're at kind of on the legal side of things. As far as the quitclaim deed, what I believe will resolve the issues is that the city typically would not accept a quitclaim deed. We would only accept a warranty deed. The issue there is that the Lamp family, because there's already been this boundary discrepancy, they don't feel comfortable doing that at this point in time. Getting a title insurance policy is probably a better way to go anyway with that. The memorandum of agreement, they're still working out and fine-tuning that between the parties. They had it drafted at one point. I think it's going to be just pushed over the finish line here in the next week or so. I believe that Tyree is out on a dig right now. And so there's been some communications trying to get that handled. The quitclaim does reference that memorandum, and so it would need to be recorded before the city accepted the quitclaim deed. And in that memorandum, they talk about some bonding, which, as was brought before this council a couple weeks ago, we do have $300,000 bond for the construction of the wall, plus a $300,000 maintenance for once the wall is constructed. So in that, the $300,000 maintenance was for another 10 years. So I do believe that with these three criteria, that we will resolve the concerns that Tyree has. The other thing is the proposed motion that I've provided for you gives us a little bit of flexibility, and what that does is essentially authorizing the mayor to sign this quitclaim once these three things are satisfied, and it won't require us to bring it back to council, because I know that time is of the essence on this, and as soon as they get the green light, we want to be able to get it in front of the mayor and execute that quitclaim acceptance.
I appreciate the title insurance and all other bonding and financial insurances being put in there. I just want to make sure that we were talking the wall as well as the boundary line, and that seems to, I mean, you reference the wall in here. I'm guessing that's going to be in the agreement.
The memorandum
together.
that, yep.
I just want to make sure that was being addressed and taken care of. Okay.
Yeah, that wall is the biggest issue in that agreement, because that agreement is to supplement what used to be the indemnification agreement that was recorded that the city didn't know about. And so the city isn't willing to accept anything until they come up with this newer agreement.
Oh, that's great. Mayor, with that, I would move to authorize the mayor to execute the acceptance of a quitclaim deed upon satisfaction of the following conditions. Number one, the city receives title insurance in an amount sufficient to satisfy legal counsel. Number two, a memorandum of agreement is reached between the Lamp Family Trust and HVAF LLC and HVAF 2 LLC. And number three, all bonding or other financial assurances required by the city or to satisfy the memorandum of agreement are satisfied.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Hunter, second by Councilmember Taylor. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Taylor?
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter?
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton?
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll?
Aye.
Okay, item number 12 is an review and action on an ordinance amending Title 15 of the American Fork City Code entitled Buildings and Constructions to update the international codes. Is there any questions? Patrick is sitting there, and I'll let you sit there, Patrick, if we don't have any questions.
Question maybe for legal counsel. And we've had this pop up from time to time where people say, hey, you've adopted the International Fire Code, but you've also, it conflicts with your current code. And we've always said, well, here's how we view it, but nothing is really written clear, I think, in our code that says that. I just didn't know if we ought to add language in here, like we have in our code and other provisions, that says, hey, if there's a conflict that exists, we clearly identify that our city code would be the one that we would adopt and utilize, not the international code. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That can easily be added.
So can you actually scroll down? I thought I saw on some of the different types of codes that it had that provision, but not on, oh, maybe you don't have it here.
Was it state code or was it city code?
So I thought it had on some of the provisions, that was the state, had like unless the city had something else.
Right.
Is basically what it said, but then it didn't have that on the fire code portion and the building code portion. So I don't have it in front of me to verify, but I was wondering if we could add the same language so that it would kind of denote that the city code supersedes it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, the ones that I didn't feel like it actually applied to had it on there. The ones I felt like it did apply to didn't, like the plumbing code and the electrical code. We don't have anything really that goes into our code into those, but then the fire code and the, what was the other one? I can't remember, but yeah, maybe in the motion, just say that should be in each of those sections to reference that same language. I think that would be helpful. And then as we're doing a code rewrite, I see this more as a Band-Aid. I think it would be nice to have a section that just is very clear whenever we reference the International Fire Code or whatever code it is.
I have
referencing
made
it.
that explicit in
Awesome.
that section of code.
So with that, I'll go and I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance amending Title 15 of the American Fork City Code entitled Buildings and Constructions, ensuring that the bold headings adopting each of the different international code contain the same language that except as otherwise provided in the code of the City of American Fork, Utah.
I have a motion by Councilmember Shelton,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember Taylor. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Shelton.
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Okay, item number 3 is a consideration and an action to enter into a closed session to discuss the purchase, sell, or lease of real estate as described in Utah State Code 52-4-204 and 52-4-205. Do I have a motion to enter into a closed session?
So move, Mayor.
A motion by Councilmember Hunter,
Second?
second by Councilmember Shelton. And I'll call for a roll call vote. Councilmember Hunter.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Okay, for the public, we are going to meet downstairs in this closed session. As we come out of that closed session, we will open the door and we'll reconvene as a city council and adjourn from the downstairs. So we'll enter into a closed session. Thank you.